My wife and I have been together for 6 years and married for almost 2. She is a lot more carefree than I am, and I am definitely more tightly wound. Before I met her, I never even really owned a pair of sweatpants, mostly because I'm from the Southwest, and it was never really cold enough to need to wear warm pants in the house. But I do now, and since Infection 19, the way I dress has gotten increasingly casual. We had also gained a bit of weight during that time, but have lost most of it recently. We both were able to update a lot of our wardrobe with really cute pants and leggings. Now I do not have a problem wearing comfortable clothes like sweatpants at home or if I am running errands on a day off. But I have noticed there have been a lot of times where we are going on a date or to a party at a friend's apartment, and she is wearing basically what she would wear to bed. I am by no means a fashionista, but it does matter to me that I am wearing clean clothes with colors that are flattering and match my vibe. So when we went to get a drink after I left work the other day, I was surprised that she showed up in tie-dye sweatpants. We were going to get dinner and see a movie as well. I was coming straight from work, so that morning when I got dressed, I picked out something that would be cute for work, but also for a date. This happens often, and I do not say anything because I do not want her to feel judged. But then she did it again a couple of days later when we went to a Super Bowl party. This is not an event that matters to me personally, but usually there are lots of new people at parties at this particular friend's house. I have a lot of social anxiety and typically would not even want to go to one of these parties. But I had the day off for once and wanted to go out and do something. So I was kind of excited to put together a jockey kind of outfit. We spent the whole day doing chores and prepping food that we were going to bring to the party. And once she started to get ready, she just put on a pair of sweatpants and said she was basically ready. I'm the first to say that I am very neurotic and probably too concerned with how I look to the point that it is debilitating and causes me to not want to leave our apartment sometimes. Woohoo OCD. But before we left, I asked if she wanted to put on one of her new pairs of jeans because they are really flattering. And then she asked if I did not want her to wear the sweatpants, and I was like, kinda yeah. Like I did not want to look ridiculous in my outfit if she was just going to show up in essentially pajamas. It started a small tiff, which ultimately ended with her wearing the same outfit, and her acknowledging that she appreciates that I take time to put together a nice outfit, but that if more of our clothes were clean, she would have put on a cuter outfit. So we went over in the original outfit she had chosen. Ultimately, I just want to feel like I am worth getting dressed up for. We are both women, and I am not very feminine, but I like to create cute outfits with layers and matching colors. And my wife absolutely does have cute clothes and is able to throw together very adorable outfits. Sometimes it feels like maybe I am not worth the effort to do that because we have been together so long. I think it would have been really sweet to meet her for our date the other day and see her in a really cute outfit, instead of what she was likely lounging in all day. I know I am probably sounding judgmental and acknowledged that with her earlier, but I really want to feel like we are intentionally going out and being hot together. We have been in an open relationship nearly our whole time together, and we used to have fun going to bars and seeing if we could hook up with people. But now it feels like that would be a near impossibility if we look like we're just running out to the corner store to grab a few things. Is it too much to ask that if we are going to a social event, sweatpants are not an option? I have nothing against them personally, and am wearing them as I type this. But I do feel sad when we make plans to do something, and it looks like we are both dressed for different events. Maybe I am concerned she will come across as apathetic. Or maybe her not caring about that aspect of our dates means she does not really care about spending meaningful time with me. We can always wear sweats together, but we do not often go out and do nice things. So when we do, I like to look the part. Mostly I'm just worried that when we go out for dinner on Valentine's, I will be wearing trousers and she will be in her pajamas again. Is there a better way to approach this conversation again? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. In general, yes, I think you have to let this one go. Your wife is going to dress how she's comfortable and happy dressing, and does not care whether you two look like you match in whatever way you're imagining. That doesn't mean she doesn't love you or value your time together. It just means her priorities for herself place comfort and ease very highly, and you have other priorities. You cannot decide that a category of clothing is off limits for her for all social events. What I think you can do is pick out a very occasional event that's particularly special to you and ask if this event can be one where you dress up for each other. That's a conversation to have, say, at least a week ahead of time, so that she doesn't feel suddenly pressured to invent a cute outfit that's clean and wrinkle-free and ready to wear and makes her feel good about her body and goes well with whatever you're wearing on the spot. And you should be willing to hear a no for any given request, as long as it's a yes more often than it's a no. Comment 2. The Super Bowl party wasn't a great time to bring this up because I think most people would assume sweatpants are a fine choice to watch football, and you sprung it on her, so she didn't have time to wash other clothes to wear. Meeting you for a date, however, especially a Valentine's one, is a good time to tell her in advance that you hope she puts a little effort into dressing up. Tell her that you want your date nights to feel special, and you're planning to put some thought into your outfit. So you hope she will do the same. When you've been with someone for a long time, you have to work to keep the spark, attraction alive. Even though I might feel like wearing sweats to meet my husband out somewhere, I take the time to do my hair, makeup, and wear a cute outfit because I want us to remember what it was like in the early days when we were trying to impress each other still. You can tell her that you're feeling a little like you're losing that and want to both work to get it back. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a month since I shared about my wife's casual dressing habits, and boy, do I have an update for you. So, after the Super Bowl party incident, Valentine's Day was looming. I was really hoping my wife would step up her game for our special night out. I even dropped some not-so-subtle hints about a new restaurant we were trying and how their dress code was a bit more upscale. I thought she got the message when she nodded and smiled, but I guess I was wrong. Valentine's Day came, and there I was, in my best trousers and a blazer I'd saved for occasions just like this. My wife? She emerged from the bedroom in her favorite pair of leggings, the ones with the cartoon cats all over them. My heart sank. I couldn't hide my disappointment, and it led to a bigger argument than the one we had before the Super Bowl party. She couldn't understand why I was making such a big deal out of clothes, and I couldn't understand why she wouldn't make an effort for me. But here's where things get interesting. A few days after Valentine's, I was doing laundry and found a receipt in the pocket of her cat leggings. It was from a boutique known for its chic attire, and the date on the receipt was the day before Valentine's. I was confused. Why would she buy something nice and then not wear it? I confronted her about it, and after a long, emotional conversation, she admitted she'd been feeling insecure about her body. She'd lost weight, yes, but she didn't feel like herself in her new clothes. She was scared I wouldn't find her attractive anymore. It was a shock to me. I always thought she was the carefree one, comfortable in her skin, while I was the one with all the hang-ups. We decided to work through it together. She agreed to try on the outfit she'd bought, and when she did, she looked stunning. I made sure to tell her that, but also that she was beautiful to me, no matter what she wore. It was a turning point for us. Fast forward to last week. We were invited to another party, this time a birthday bash for one of my colleagues. I was nervous about what my wife would wear, but I didn't want to pressure her. To my surprise, she walked out in the outfit she'd bought for Valentine's Day, looking confident and radiant. My jaw dropped. She'd done it for me, she said, but also for herself. She wanted to feel good and enjoy going out again. The party was a hit, and my wife was the life of it. She mingled, laughed, and for the first time in a long time, I saw her truly enjoying herself. It was like the old days when we first met, and we'd go out and have fun without a care in the world. But the best part? The subtle justice that was served that night. The host of the party, who'd always been a bit snooty about appearances, complimented my wife on her outfit. She didn't know the backstory, of course, but it felt like a small victory. My wife had overcome her insecurities, and here was someone acknowledging her effort without even knowing it. My partner hides massive credit card, debt, and claims money. Overseas will fix it, but family feud. Blocks cash, and now a strange charge on their statement. Threatens our fresh start. He's upset at me for violating his privacy. I'm focused on the fact that he lied to me. I've asked him straight up if he has any debt. He said no. Turns out he has $25,000 of credit card debt and has been paying interest $500 a month for the 14 plus months. He said the debt wasn't a big deal. He doesn't think he lied to me since it wasn't real debt, since he has that amount of money to his name, since he has $30,000 in another country. He didn't want to transfer it over to pay the debt since it would get taxed heavily, and to him it wasn't technically debt since he had that amount of money to his name, just in a different country. He thought he had been paying $100 for the last 3 months or so, or at least that's what he told me. That is when I snooped, because I knew that couldn't be right. Context: he is the best partner I could have asked for up until last week. We never fought. He is so thoughtful, kind, funny, compassionate, smart. He treats me so well. We are deeply in love and generally very happy until this incident. When I confronted him about it, he said he was deeply depressed for 2-3 years. We've been together since 5 years ago, and was very unorganized with his finances, not realizing the float number got that high or what the interest rate was. I think about how the timelines, even if you were severely depressed 6 to 7 years ago, are weird. In that huge amount of time, you couldn't have gotten it together. I want to believe him. He used to work in finance, so he's not dumb. I don't know if he lied about his interest rate or he genuinely didn't know. Edit. I believe he genuinely didn't know and avoided looking at it. I think he just didn't think about it because he felt guilt and shame. We've been together for 5 years and wanted to get married, have kids, and build a life together. I'm shocked to find out he lied to me about the debt, but that was last week. Now we're repeating the whole thing because of the interest number. He loves his job, low 6 figures, but isn't able to save for some reason while I make the same amount. Who is in the wrong, and how do I repair this? I want this to work, and I want to be supportive in helping him go through this debt payment process. I do not want to leave him. Even if he had $100,000 in debt and told me right off the bat, I would stay. I don't care about the number itself. We would get through it together. I think he feels a lot of guilt and shame because he says he feels like I'm criticizing him for leaving his high-paying job, in which he has no savings from, to one he loves but makes less, still 6 figures. I am not. He also explained how disorganized he was. I'm highly organized, so I couldn't fathom not knowing your monthly spend down to the dollar. I just don't want to be lied to. I want us to work towards saving for our future together. I'm exhausted for the last 2 weeks. Advice would be helpful. I can't even think straight. Edit. The debt will be paid off next week. He said he liquidated his stocks and transferred it over. What's the debt from? The debt is mainly from money invested into his startup, which he agrees was a stupid decision to not do a personal or business loan. He thought he had enough to pay it off. The debt is not from corn or gambling. The rest of the debt is lifestyle bloat. He loves organic everything, likes to Uber places, likes to eat lunch out, do expensive workout classes. Why doesn't he have savings? He spent frivolously when he worked in finance, and his rent was very expensive. He ate out a lot, was single, and living in a big city. The first 4 years of our relationship, he made $50,000 a year. Our rent was $1,900 per person. We lived together and split all expenses 50-50. He had $30,500 monthly net, and all of it went towards living expenses. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Honestly, being in that much credit card debt would have been bad enough for me. But if he was upfront and honest, you could have at least worked on an action plan together. He lied because he wanted to present himself as a certain way to you. He's mad because he's embarrassed that has been proven a lie, and he got caught. I'd be wary, not because of the debt per se, but lying about it. Finances are one of the biggest reasons for divorce. How can you plan to marry someone who won't have an honest discussion with you? How can you trust someone who hides a very significant amount of bad debt when you ask point blank to their face? I don't know. I honestly don't think I could without a lot of time passing and fiscal responsibility shown. Comment 2. My husband also lied about massive credit card debt multiple times. Then I found out he was lying about other things. And then I found more lies. Someone with such deep-seated shame that they will lie to their life partner about something so important, will continuously feel that shame and lie about so many other things. And you will never know if you've gotten the full truth, if they are lying about something else, when the next bomb will come. Your intuition will be screaming at you, but he'll hide and lie and tell you, of course, you can trust him. You can't. You cannot have a relationship without trust. Run. Now, for the update. A lot has happened since my last post, and I'm still reeling from the revelations. My boyfriend, who I thought was the epitome of responsibility, has been keeping secrets that are now bubbling to the surface, challenging the trust and future we've been building together. 3 days ago, I found out that not only did he have $25,000 in credit card debt, but he was also paying a whopping $500 in interest every month. He tried to downplay it, saying it wasn't real debt because he had the money in another country. But the truth is, he's been bleeding money, and it's not just because of the debt. I remember when he left his high-paying finance job. He said he wanted to do something he loved, even if it paid less. I supported him because I saw how unhappy he was. But now, I'm starting to see the cracks in his story. He's always had a taste for the finer things. Organic foods, Uber rides, fancy workout classes. It's lifestyle bloat, and it's catching up to him. He confessed that the debt was mainly from pouring money into his failed startup. He thought he could handle it without a loan. The rest was from living beyond his means. I couldn't believe it. He used to make $50,000 a year, and we split everything down the middle. But he never saved a dime. 2 days ago, he told me he'd liquidated his stocks to pay off the debt. I wanted to feel relieved, but I couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more he wasn't telling me. And I was right. Yesterday, I found out that the $30,000 he claimed to have in another country was tied up in a family dispute. His parents had been managing it, and now his siblings were contesting the ownership. It was a mess, and it meant that money was as good as gone. I was furious, not just because of the money, but because he had lied to me. He had always been the one to handle our finances because of his background in finance. I trusted him implicitly. But now, I was questioning everything. We had a huge fight. He accused me of not being supportive, of only caring about money. But it wasn't about the money. It was about honesty, about trust. I told him that, and it seemed to hit a nerve. He broke down, admitting that he was ashamed of his financial mess and that he didn't want to disappoint me. I was torn. On one hand, I loved him and wanted to help him through this. On the other, I felt betrayed. How could we plan a future together if he kept things from me? Today, we sat down to talk. He promised to be more transparent with his finances. He showed me his accounts, the debts, and the payments he'd made. It was a step in the right direction, but I couldn't help but feel wary. Trust is easy to break and hard to rebuild. We decided to start fresh. We would create a joint budget and savings plan. He agreed to cut back on his expensive habits and to consult me on all financial decisions. It was going to be a long road, but we were willing to walk it together. But then, as we were going through his statements, we saw a charge that neither of us recognized. It was for a luxury hotel in town, dated 6 months ago. He went pale, and I felt my heart sink. He tried to explain it away, saying it must be a mistake, but I could see the guilt in his eyes. Partner uses intimacy as revenge. So I demand a break and find out they're cheating with a coworker, which leads to a showdown and me choosing therapy over their twisted love game. I have no problem with masturbation. In fact, we regularly play with ourselves together, or I offer to help him out if I'm not in the mood myself. The situation hit me differently. He was staying over, and we went to bed and were having intimacy. We were having fun, but it was taking him a while, and I was getting sore, so we switched methods, and at some point, he stopped me, very frustrated, and told me it felt like I wasn't even trying. I was taken aback. He then started a conversation about how he feels I haven't been giving effort for a while, or making him feel wanted or doing anything fun and exploratory anymore. I'm glad he brought it up because I had no idea he was feeling this way. From my perspective, we had been having more intimacy than ever, But yes, it has been more vanilla than what it used to be. We had a productive conversation, and it was hard to hear. But I'm glad he felt comfortable bringing it up. I explained I've been extremely stressed and tired from work, so it has nothing to do with him, but wanted to do that for him and would really work on it. At this point, it was 2 a.m. on a weeknight, so we just try to go to sleep. I have been struggling with anxiety, and at this point, my brain starts racing about feeling like a failure at work, now in this relationship, and with other things that have been going on in my life. I know it is my responsibility to manage these emotions on my own, and I didn't do that successfully, and ended up dragging him into my spiral. Things got a little heated at points. He was frustrated at me for keeping him awake. I felt horrible about not finishing him off and not feeling good enough sexually, and we stayed up for a long while trying to work through it. I acknowledge I could have handled this piece much, much better. It didn't end well, and he kept angrily telling me to just go to sleep, to let him sleep. I was still very upset and anxious, but I knew I had to let him. So I rolled over and tried to just go to sleep. He then very vigorously jerked himself off right next to me. I froze, started involuntarily shaking, and my heart was pounding. It felt like I was having a panic attack. I felt so violated in that moment. I couldn't believe that after everything we had just gone through, that's what he was rushing me to sleep for, and couldn't have just left the room to do it. He later admitted he was doing it to be petty and prove a point that I never helped him finish. I realized I didn't handle things well that night, so I really want to forgive and forget and move past it, but I can't stop thinking about how violated I felt in that moment, and I am still struggling to even sleep in my bed a week later because that feeling races through my mind when I try to sleep in that spot. So I've been sleeping on my couch. I have communicated I need a break from all things intimacy, and he was respectful, but I worry he is taking it as revenge on my part, which makes me even more upset about it. I want to give him the effort he wants, but I don't want to force myself to do it before I feel comfortable with him again. How do I move past this? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If he didn't want to make you anxious, he shouldn't have stopped having intimacy with you and unloaded all this anger on you. It was a terrible time to bring it up, and it sounds like he did it out of frustration, with a strong element of blaming you, rather than approaching it at a better time with a, "Hey, can we talk about how our intimacy life has been going lately" attitude. It sounds like he blames you for a lot, but doesn't put forth the same effort for you that he expects from you. Frankly, he sounds selfish and unkind, and making a big show of self-intimacy next to you in a deliberate effort to hurt you was just the vindictive, nasty icing on a terrible, selfish cake. I would leave him if I were you. You don't treat people you love like that. Comment 2. Aggressively self-intimacy to punish you for not fulfilling his intimacy needs is a massive red flag. Aggressive intimacy behavior done out of spite and without consent is hurtful and highly concerning. I am concerned this could escalate into violent intimacy behavior that violates your physical being and not just your mental and emotional well-being. Please take care of yourself. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the support on my last post. It's been a month since then, and boy, do I have an update for you. Things have taken a turn and not in the way I expected. After the night we had that talk, things were tense. I tried to push past my feelings of violation and work on our relationship, but it was like walking on eggshells. I was trying to be more adventurous in the bedroom, hoping it would smooth things over, but deep down I was still shaken up. Then, 2 weeks ago, I found out why he'd been so frustrated with our intimacy life. It wasn't just about variety or feeling wanted. No, it was because he'd been getting his thrills elsewhere. That's right, he was cheating on me. And not just with anyone, with my coworker, Jenna. The one who'd been giving me pep talks at work when I was stressed. The one I'd confided in about my relationship troubles. I stumbled upon the truth when I saw a message pop up on his phone while he was in the shower. It was from Jenna, something flirty that made my stomach drop. I couldn't help myself. I looked through their messages. It was all there. The sexting, the meetups, the betrayal. I confronted him as soon as he got out of the shower. He tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was too damning. He finally admitted it, saying he felt neglected and that Jenna was just fun. I was livid. I felt like a fool for trying to fix things when he was the one breaking them. The confrontation was explosive. He tried to turn it around on me, saying my lack of effort drove him to it. But I wasn't having any of it. I told him to leave and that we were done. He left, but not without shouting that I'd regret this, that I was overreacting. As for Jenna, I couldn't even look at her at work. I felt betrayed on so many levels. I didn't confront her there. I didn't want to cause a scene at my job. But I did send her a message telling her I knew and that our friendship was over. She responded with a half-hearted apology, saying she never meant to hurt me. It was a slap in the face. The fallout was messy. Our mutual friends were shocked. Some took sides. Others tried to stay neutral. It was a mess of he said, she said, and I was emotionally exhausted. I had to take a few days off work to get my head straight. During this time, I reflected on the past few years with him. I remembered the good times, sure, but I also saw the red flags I'd ignored. His tendency to get defensive when criticized. His habit of turning things around on me. I realized this betrayal wasn't just out of the blue. It was part of a pattern. I also thought about my own actions. I had been stressed and distant, but that didn't excuse his cheating. I had to stop blaming myself for his decisions. It was a hard pill to swallow, but it was necessary for me to move on. Now, I'm focusing on myself. I've started therapy to deal with the anxiety and the aftermath of the relationship. It's been tough, but I'm slowly rebuilding my confidence. I've also been spending more time with friends who've supported me through this, the ones who reminded me that I deserve better. As for my ex, he's tried to reach out a few times, mostly to get his stuff back. I've kept it civil, but I've made it clear that we're over for good. I've heard through the grapevine that he's still seeing Jenna, but I couldn't care less. They deserve each other. And me, I'm sleeping in my bed again. It took a while, but I've reclaimed my space. It's no longer tainted by that night or by him. It's mine, and I sleep soundly knowing I stood up for myself. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.